The movie begins in the city of Shanghai, and Jet is on his way to deliver a package. But suddenly, he notices there's a kite festival, and he sees that one of the kids has lost his kite. So he goes flying to try to retrieve it, and gives it back to the girl so she won't be sad. Then he goes flying at high speed to continue with the delivery. But we see that he accidentally loses control because he's going too fast, and that ends up causing him to crash into the ground. We go to the airport, and Jet is happy to have completed the deliveries, while his friends are giving a demonstration of how they perform rescues, and Jet joins them to show off his skills. Then he starts flying to show off to everyone how fast he is, but the kids think he's the most boring airplane. While in the control tower, Sky was waiting for him, and she starts scolding him for being too careless with his speed, because it could cause people to get hurt, and he must promise not to fly at maximum speed. Then Sky shows him that people are voting for their favorite super wing, but Jet is disappointed to find he's the least chosen. Jet starts getting ready to continue with the deliveries, and now he has to take a package to a famous YouTuber known as Fay. So he gets the idea that he can appear in her videos to win votes in the competition, and he goes at high speed to meet her. We go to Fay's house, and she is having a presentation for her new music video. While in the sky, Jet is hit by a few paint bottles, and Fay starts apologizing for not being careful. Then Fay tells him they can record a video of him delivering the packages, and we see that they're surprised because they sent her a plaque for 1 million subscribers. Fay manages to realize that she's been invited to an event, but suddenly we see that her mother has arrived and starts scolding her for the paint mess. We return to the airport, and Jet is sad because things didn't go as he'd hoped. Then his friends show him that he's in a funny video, and they start laughing at him for still being the least favorite. While at Fay's house, she's on a video call with her astronaut father, and we see her decide that she's going to the event. Jet is flying to continue making deliveries, and he arrives at Fay's house because they left a package for him. We go to a stadium, and everyone is getting ready for the awards ceremony to begin, where we can see that Fay hid inside the package to be delivered by Jet, because that way her mother wouldn't find out. Then Fay goes on stage to perform her musical act and manages to surprise everyone with her talents. But suddenly they hear the ceiling cracking, and Jet manages to arrive in time to save Fay. Then they realize a disco ball has appeared, and inside it is a group of people. Billy uses a remote control to summon robots, and they start vacuuming everyone up to kidnap the celebrities. So Jet realizes they're in serious trouble, and Fay is saved by her mother's arrival, but ends up being sucked into the villain's robot. We go to the control tower, and Sky tells them that various parts of the world are being vandalized. So they're on a mission to find those responsible, and the main suspect is the toy maker Billy. Then the team gets ready to start the mission, and we see that only Jet won't be helping with the problem because he has to focus on making deliveries. But suddenly he hears that he has a call from Fay and decides to go back to the stadium to meet up with her. Fay tells him that her drone has been captured and that she can use the tracker to find the villains. Jet tells her that he won't help with the problem, but ends up being convinced to follow the villains. We go to France, and the team is hiding to wait for the villains because the next target is the Eiffel Tower. While in the distance, Jet has also arrived, and Fay comes up with the idea that they can open the door to infiltrate the ship. But suddenly, they notice that the villains have come out, and Billy starts getting ready to make his pranks. So Jet takes the opportunity to start chasing him, but ends up crashing because he's too careless. While inside the ship, Fay is looking for her drone, but we see that she's discovered by one of the villains. The Super Wings go on their way to catch the villain leader, but Billy manages to defeat them very easily. Then he starts bragging that they've captured his friend, and Jet goes at high speed to try to rescue her. We start to see that he's following the villain through various parts of the city, and that he manages to reach her to rescue his friend. But suddenly, we see that they end up getting caught in an attack by Billy, and they're only saved because the police have arrived. Then they float away on a current of water and are picked up by a recycling truck. So they realize they're in serious trouble, and Jet uses his speed to save themselves from the shredder. Doug starts asking them about the glass capsule because it has the logo of an abandoned toy store. But suddenly, he hears someone calling him, and Doug tells them that his boss gave him permission to take them there. In the next morning, they are on their way to the toy factory, and Fay thinks Doug is acting too suspicious. While at the control tower, they're worried about Jet because his last location is near the villains. So they decide to get ready to start the mission and leave at high speed to help their friend. We head to the toy store, and the team is searching for any clues about the villains, but suddenly they realize they've fallen into a trap and end up getting caught by some kind of claw. Then they get the idea that they can use the air duct to save their friend Fay, because that way the villains won't be able to capture her. Billy starts explaining that Doug used to work at his factory and that he'd use his parts to build a new robot. So Jet decides to use his maximum speed and manages to break the chains to escape his confinement. While Fay realizes she's surrounded by the villains and decides to use her roller skates to get away from them, Jet is destroying the factory because he can't control his speed, and the the villains are on their way to avoid getting caught. The Super Wings realize their friend is in trouble and start working as a team to try to stop him, which ends up causing the entire place to be destroyed, and the villains take the opportunity to escape. Jet starts apologizing for losing control because he just wanted to prove that he can be a hero too, to which his friends tell him he has nothing to prove because all members are equally important. But suddenly they notice Fay's drone and that she has boarded the ship to chase after the villains. We go to New York and the villains arrive in the city to continue their pranks. Billy starts telling them they're going to do their next trick and that they'll use a rocket to send them into space. While on the ship, Fay sneaks into the control room and manages to trick Doug into getting caught with tape. Then she realizes it's already too late because the ship has started transforming. Jet manages to arrive in time to rescue her friend and says they'll work as a team to defeat the villains. Billy starts telling them that he used to build toys to make people happy, but that one day everything changed with the arrival of the internet. So he decided he would become a villain and force people to use his toys. Then they start getting ready to begin the battle, and they're fighting against the villains' robots, but they end up being defeated very easily. Suddenly they realize another plane has arrived, and Sky tells her team she brought new equipment to make them stronger. Then they start fighting to test their new abilities, and they manage to defeat the villains very easily. Billy starts telling them that it's already too late because his rocket had begun its launch. Jet goes at high speed to try to stop it, but ends up getting hit by the leader of the villains. Fay takes the opportunity to infiltrate the ship and realizes that her father has arrived to help her with her problem. But suddenly we see that she ends up being captured by the villain's leader, and that Billy used his invention to turn himself into a giant. Then Jet starts fighting alongside his friend, but we see that they end up being defeated again. So Jet decides he won't keep his promise and will use his maximum speed to finally defeat him. He then manages to arrive in time to prevent the ship from crashing into the moon, but this causes Jet to lose consciousness. While on Earth, they notice the ship falling, and the Super Wings work together to ensure it lands safely. Fay starts telling them that Jet decided to sacrifice himself to save everyone, but suddenly we see that he was able to come back to life thanks to the drone's energy. Then Sky scolds him for being too careless and says she's proud that he saved everyone. We return to the airport, and now everyone recognizes Jet as a true hero.
This is how the movie ends. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on what more movies you would like to see on the channel.